Welcome to this week's Travel Talk show. This week we're going to one of the most beautiful and natural destinations in the world. Costa Rica is one of the world's most popular destinations for adventurers, nature lovers, and eco-friendly travelers. It has great beaches along both coastlines, stunning natural sights to explore such as volcanoes and cloud forests, and large rainforests that are home to sloths among other beloved animals. We are the Women's Travel Club, and we offer small group tours for women all over the world. Our tours are limited to a maximum of 16 travelers or less, and most women do come to us as solo travelers, but quickly make some great travel friends. I'm Marian Southall. I'm the marketing director for the Women's Travel Club. And I host most of these travel talks. I am joined by Irene Murray, who is our operations manager. She is who usually answers the phone if you call in or join us on the chat. So many of you may have already talked to Irene at some point. Feel free to ask any questions. You can put them in the Q&A section. So you will notice a menu either at the bottom of your screen or the side of your screen, and you can actually pick it up and drag it around and move it to wherever you want it. And in that menu there's a Q&A, so you can type in any questions that you think of along the way. We will answer the questions at the end, so we'll read them out and answer all those questions at the end, or give you the opportunity if you want to come on and actually ask a question, you can do that. There's a little button to raise your hand at the end, and you can raise your hand and come on and chat with us. Or along the way, there is a chat button. So in the chat is just a kind of informal area to chat, make comments, anything that you'd like. Say hi to Irene because she's going to man the chat. So you can be there and say hi to her. If you're interested in the Costa Rica tour that we do offer, it is in the chat. There is a link, so you can always check that out at some point. Or we'll send you a quick follow-up email after the webinar with the information to actually see our tour if you're interested in that. So let's get started and head to Costa Rica. It's in the heart of Central America between North America and South America. Costa Rica is bordered by Nicaragua on the north and Panama on the south, and it's set between the Pacific Ocean and Caribbean Ocean with only 200 miles from coast to coast. The whole country is only 20,000 square miles, but those miles are packed with some of the most beautiful scenery and nature in the world. Let's have a look at when the best time to visit is. Costa Rica has a number of microclimates, so it depends on where you are, but it is warm all year round. Generally speaking, there are two seasons. The dry season is from mid-December to April, and the wet season is from May to November, also known as the green season due to the outstanding lush foliage. Naturally, the dry season is when prices are the highest. However, it is the period when there is plenty of sunshine, good for exploring the national parks and spending time on the beach. In June and July, the rain showers are brief and everything is lush. The dry season is best for viewing wildlife, including tropical birds and sea turtles. If visiting a rainforest, there will be high temperatures and humidity year-round. Our upcoming Costa Rica tour is from November 16th to the 29th, which is perfectly timed in the shoulder season between the green and dry seasons. The landscape of the country is varied and includes cloud forests, volcanoes, waterfalls, hot springs, valleys, and rainforests. The northwest coast of the Pacific is characterized by savanna and dry forests that head into mangroves and rainforest in the south, while parts of the Caribbean coast are inaccessible, which has helped it to preserve large tracts of virgin lowland forest. There are 3 mountain ranges that run through the country. Costa Rica's Central Valley is a plateau with a good climate that hosts much of the country's population, as well as its coffee trade. The highest peak in the country is Arenal Volcano, which is 3,431 meters, making it the 5th highest peak in Central America. Costa Rica's territory is so small that it only encompasses 0.03% of the planet's surface, but it's still within the top 20 richest countries in biodiversity on Earth in terms of species density. This means that it's possible to find more species in 1,000 square kilometers in Costa Rica than it is in the same area in huge countries like Brazil or Colombia. Let's start looking around Costa Rica and all the amazing things she has to offer. Located in Costa Rica's Central Valley, San Jose is the country's largest city and serves both as Costa Rica's capital and as the head of the San Jose province. Named in honor of Saint Joseph of Nazareth, the city is originally founded in 1737 as a result of an official order from the Catholic Church to allow the many scattered inhabitants of the region a place to concentrate and to worship. A small village initially, the area's fertile soil made for excellent farming conditions, and with the introduction of coffee to the Central Valley in the 19th century, San Jose became quite prosperous. Despite being an agriculturally based city for much of the 20th century, San Jose has grown into a modern city that is the center of political and economic activity in Costa Rica. It is also a cultural hub, hosting some of the finest museums in Central America, including the Gold Museum, the Jade Museum, and the Costa Rican Art Museum, which features an outdoor air sculpture garden. San Jose's markets are colorful and vibrant, and the city offers a sophisticated nightlife. Its central location means that the city is an excellent base from which to explore the rest of this fascinating country. Now let's head to the coast of the Caribbean Sea to Tortuguero National Park. Tortuguero National Park is located in the northeastern Costa Rica and is one of the country's main tourist icons. Internationally recognized for its protection of the largest green turtle nesting beach in the Western Hemisphere. Far removed from the city and composed of an extensive network of rivers and streams, access is possible only on small boats. Tortuguero National Park is a place like no other, where small communities around the protected area, such as Barra de Tortuguero and San Francisco, still retain their traditions and move around on bicycles as the only means of transportation. All of this makes a trip to Tortuguero a genuine encounter with Caribbean culture. Dr. Archie Carr of the University of Florida formed the Caribbean Conservation Corporation in 1959 to study and protect sea turtles, and the turtle tagging program he began at Tortuguero in 1955 continues today. It's possible to see stragglers laying eggs during the day, but the majority of arrivals occur at night. You will need a guide to visit the beaches at night. No one is allowed on the beach unaccompanied after 6 p.m. You and your guide will walk out onto the beach under the starlit night to watch the turtles struggle up the beach, dig their nests, and lay their eggs. If you're exceptionally lucky, you may get a chance to see an even more spectacular event. The newly hatched turtles race to the sea. There is some overlap of the nesting and hatching seasons for the different varieties of turtles. The eggs incubate in the warm sand for 7 to 10 weeks before the babies hatch, dig their way to the surface, and make their long, dark scuttle from the nest well above the high tide mark across the beach to the surf. However, the area is not only for sea turtles. The extensive network of freshwater creeks and lagoons behind the beaches of Tortuguero are home to 7 species of river turtles, spectacled caiman, southern river otters, and a number of crustaceans, and over 50 species of freshwater fish. If you take a trip on a tour boat or paddle a canoe through the freshwater canals, you are also likely to see spider, howler, and capuchin monkeys, and dozens of species of birds. If you're lucky, you might spot an endangered West Indian manatee. The Arenal Volcano National Park is one of the most scenic parts of Costa Rica. It is situated in the northwest of the country and easily accessible from San Jose. The main feature of the park is a tall and imposing active volcano and its very large crater, in which is perfectly symmetrically shaped. It last erupted in 1968 after centuries of being dormant. Explosions are very rare. In truth, the national park has two volcanoes, the 5,357-foot Arenal volcano and the 3,740-foot Chato volcano. The latter has been inactive for nearly 3,500 years and has a collapsed crater that contains a picture-perfect lagoon. In contrast, Arenal is Costa Rica's most active volcano, and since July 29, 1968, its lava flows have been consistent. The park has many other scenic attractions with its hot springs, rainforests, and waterfalls. There are also lots of activities available, such as hiking, fishing, horse riding, as well as rappelling down in the canyons. The region around Arenal volcano is particularly renowned for its hot springs, resulting from the geothermal activity around the volcanoes. The abundant hot springs offer a chance to relax and unwind after a day of exciting exploring in this area. Almost right next to Arenal, we have Tenoro Volcano National Park. Tenoro has everything you can want in a tropical forest nature area, and every time we visit, we find something new to love. Hiking to the sky blue Celeste waterfall is a highlight. And yes, the water is that color. But the hanging bridges in the rainforest and the trail to Lago Danta through the cloud forest from the Heliconius entrance are equally amazing. Now let's head to the cloud forest in Monteverde. The area that now constitutes Monteverde was founded by the American Quakers, whose pacifist police forced them to leave the United States during the Korean War in order to avoid the draft. The cool climate supported dairy farming, and the Quakers were able to build a home. In 1972, scientists George Powell and Quaker Wilford Yinden established the Monteverde Cloud Forest Reserve to conserve the area. Hazy mist, trailing foliage, and the mysterious call of rare birds. It sounds like something from a fantasy or adventure film, but this dream world can be found in Monteverde, Costa Rica's cloud forests. Cloud forests take their name from their very literal nature. Often taking the form of fog, low-hanging clouds hover around the upper canopy of the forest before condensing onto the leaves of trees and dripping onto the plants below. The sky essentially comes down to the forest, enabling you to walk through the clouds, especially when you take a canopy tour on the suspension bridges. Understandably, the sun has a hard time breaking through the thick veils of clouds, and this causes a slower rate of evaporation and thus provides the plants with a bounty of life-giving moisture. The moisture helps to promote a huge amount of biodiversity, particularly among the type of plants known as epiphytes. These plants grow on other plants, including trees, non-parasitically, collecting their moisture and nutrients from the air, rain, and debris that surrounds them. Common examples include lichens, orchids, and bromeliads, all of which are abundant in Monteverde. Cloud forests also tend to host a large number of endemic species, as their unique climates and specialized ecosystems create habitats that are not found anywhere else on Earth. It's also the perfect place to try ziplining. Here we come. There, that's me in the yellow hat. Next national park is for all the spelunkers out there. The area of Tampiske Basin, where the Nicoya Peninsula joins the mainland, has a foundation of relatively soft limestone. Water has cut extensive caves through the Cerro Barahonda and other small mountains, creating the best known feature of this national park. The park has a system of caves with stalactite and stalagmite formations. The Barahonda Peak is almost 1,500 feet high and is made up of old coral reefs that were pushed up by tectonic plates. Of the 19 caves that have been discovered, the Terceo cave is open to the public because it's the easiest to access. And I'm not going to mention that the Terceo is named after a venomous viper. The caves are all in relatively good condition because their vertical entrances are difficult to negotiate, and is also why you need climbing gear, a guide, and permission from the Park Service in advance to enter them. The caves range from a few feet to over 780 feet deep. Our next national park is Corcovado National Park. This remote park in the south is one of the world's most biodiverse regions. Corcovado National Park is the backpacking experience of a lifetime. It encompasses the only remaining old-growth wet forests on the Pacific coast of Central America and 13 major ecosystems, including lowland rainforest, highland cloud forest, yahilo palm forest, and mangrove swamps, as well as coastal marine and beach habitats. There is a good chance of spotting some of Costa Rica's shyest and most endangered inhabitants here: bears, tapirs, jaguars, scarlet macaws, harpy eagles, red-backed squirrel monkeys, and white-lipped pecaries. It's a wet, remote, and rugged, but the trails are relatively good, and the camping areas near the ranger stations are grassy and well-drained. All 4 of the monkey species, including the highly endangered red-backed squirrel monkey, and all 6 of the feline species found in Costa Rica inhabit Corcovado. All 4 of the sea turtle species that nest in Costa Rica visit the beaches of Corcovado as well. Over 40 species of frogs, including red-eyed tree, rain, glass, dink, and poison arrow varieties, dozens of snakes, including a variety of boas and the dreaded bushmaster, as well as 28 species of lizards, more than 100 species of butterflies, and at least 10,000 other insects call the Osa Peninsula home, including a few you may wish were endangered. Right around the corner, we have Drake Bay. This is the legendary site of pirate treasure from Sir Francis Drake's days of raiding the Spanish. Regardless of whether the treasure is real, the bay is a secluded spot to avoid the tourist trail and enjoy some natural adventure, from water sports and snorkeling to horseback riding and bird watching. Located on the Pacific coast of Costa Rica in the Central Pacific Conservation Area is Manuel Antonio National Park. Despite being small in size, covering just under 2,000 hectares, the park is home to a wide variety of wildlife and biodiversity. The park was first created in 1972 because the local population wanted to preserve the forests of one of the most beautiful and diverse areas in the world. Manuel Antonio became Costa Rica's first ecotourism destination, supporting a combination of rainforest, beaches, and coral reef. It provides a habitat for over 100 mammal species and more than 180 bird species. Manuel Antonio Park has the most varied and beautiful landscapes. Surrounded by lush tropical wet forest, and their paths can be observed capuchin monkeys, sloths, coitas, raccoons, iguanas, and many species of birds, as well as the squirrel monkey, which is endemic to Manuel Antonio and increasingly threatened, with only 1,500 individuals left according to the most recent census. The park protects also 12 islands that represent excellent shelter for several species of marine birds. It also has excellent beaches and a 12-hectare lagoon with mangroves. Just an hour from Manuel Antonio National Park, we have Balena National Marine Park, where you can watch as whales and dolphins put on a show. This is one of the most unique reserves in Costa Rica. Located just offshore along the Central Pacific coast in South Punta Arenas, the Balena National Park protects more than 13,000 acres of ocean and 9 miles of coastline. Comprised of mangrove forests, coral reefs, and untouched beaches, the national park is one for travelers who want to view fragile wildlife while escaping the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Let's have a look at a few other things to do while in Costa Rica. If we head to the Guanacaste region, it is well known for beaches and luxury resorts. The northwestern province along the Pacific Ocean is one of the country's most popular resort regions. There are long, sandy beaches, thick rainforests, and lots of opportunity to go swimming, surfing, snorkeling, and fishing. There are also many resorts that cater to every type of traveler. One of the great mysteries of Costa Rica are the stone spheres. The stone spheres of Costa Rica refer to a collection of over 300 petrospheres located on Ilha de Cano. The spheres were discovered by the United Fruit Company's workers who were clearing a new site for a banana plantation. The smallest stone sphere is about 6.6 feet, while the largest stone weighs about 16 tons. The scientific study and description of the spheres began in the late 1930s, with the first scholarly writing about the stone balls first appearing in 1943. Locally, the stone spheres are called lobolas, and while are well-known stone carvings from the Istmo Columbia era. They are thought to have been built in lines leading to the House of Chiefs, but their actual purpose still remains unclear. Costa Rica is one of the world's foremost destinations for ecotourism. So you'll find many accommodations across the country that focus on green energy and carbon neutral tourism options. Staying at an eco lodge in the rainforest is the best way to practice sustainable travel. On your visit, help keep this beautiful and pristine destination what it's famous for. Make sure to avoid leaving waste behind when visiting many of Costa Rica's natural habitats, and avoid buying products made for endangered animals and other local species. Don't pick flowers, don't take shells back home, and keep your distance from animals when you encounter them in the wild. And relax, breathe deep, and enjoy. A recent study showed that many Costa Ricans live longer, healthier lives than people on the rest of the planet. And it all comes down to pura vida, the pure life, a term you'll hear everywhere. Before you dismiss it as marketing banter, and it is a big marketing phrase, listen to how it's used. It means hello, goodbye, everything's cool, same to you. It never has a negative connotation. You may enter the country not believing it, but after a week, you'll be saying it too, unconsciously. Pure vida, me. Relax and enjoy the ride. And that comes to an end of our presentation, but we're hoping that we'll have some questions or some comments, or people just want to chat.
Yeah, okay, there actually is a question, and we can start with that as people start to put their hands up. Actually, somebody congratulated you on your presentation, which is great, and it was, you did very great, you did a good job, thank you.
I'm getting better every week.
So our particular tour, can you explain how you get from point A to B in terms of transportation?
Sure, we have a minibus. So I think it's usually about a 21-seater minibus that kind of drives us around.
Okay.
Air conditioned. When we do go out, we go to Tortuguero National Park, which they mentioned is only accessible by boat. So we drive out to a certain point, and then we have to get in a little boat, and that takes us into the lodge. There is an eco lodge. We stay there. So we do take a boat in at that point to get to the eco lodge. And I think there's another point. I think we cross Lake Arenal by the Arenal volcano. We cross that by boat too.
Okay, and this is a pretty moderate activity. We refer to this.
Yeah, so there's some like walking tours, so like a little bit of a like hiking kind of options in it, but nothing very strenuous that most people couldn't do.
Okay, thank you. So the question raised, of course, about vaccines, the situation in Costa Rica. So this, we all know what to answer, but you can say that very clearly. Thank you.
So it's like with all our tours, we won't travel while there's still restrictions in place. We're watching the restrictions. On our website, on every tour, there is a link on the little menu that goes with each tour to a travel restrictions guide. If you click on the travel restrictions guide, it knows where you are through your ISP. And so it pre-populates that, but you can change it to Canada, US, or wherever you may be. And then also the destination you're going to is a drop-down box, and it will give you current rules regarding that destination for entry, for coming back home, everything you need to know, what it's like there, the masks required there and such. And that is updated daily. So any destinations that you're interested in, you can keep an eye there and watch and as things develop. We do expect that as vaccines roll out, eventually it's going to be, you know, you need to be vaccinated to travel. But right now we're just kind of watching the regulations as they change and develop.
Thank you. So that goes really to the question of, somebody said, is COVID an issue? But it's true to say that what we're hearing is evolving daily. And so
Yes.
it's very possible in terms of, and we don't know now, but we anticipate knowing in the next couple of months, that for this type of travel, perhaps a certificate of vaccination might be.
I would assume so. And people I've talked to, they're kind of more in the know than I, have said the same thing, that eventually there's going to be countries, it could be a lot like what's happening now, say with yellow fever. So if you go to a country, some countries require that you have a yellow fever vaccination. And so you just have to present a vaccination record when you get on the plane to say, yes, I have my vaccination. It might be that kind of situation, or it might be airlines requiring them to fly. We're not exactly sure what the logistics will look like at this point in time, but we're fairly confident that at some point vaccines will be required to travel.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So again, this goes to the type of tour notes that you'll give our members traveling on the tour. Somebody asked about the kind of footwear.
Oh, yes. So there will be on any of the tours, as we get closer to the time when we're actually getting ready to pack and getting ready to go, you'll get tour notes which give you everything you need to know about the tour. So they'll give you a suggested packing list, anything that you really should bring that's a little out of the ordinary for a specific tour. They tell you all about the currency for the country. They tell you about, you know, what electrical sockets are like in that country. Just everything that you kind of need to know ahead of time in visiting a new country, a new destination, and it's all laid out. Plus all the hotels we stay in, the phone numbers for all the hotels, things like that are all in there.
Okay, thank you. So a question here from Donna might catch you off guard, perhaps in terms of length of travel. How far from San Jose to the Tortuguero National Park?
How far? Oh, geez.
Can you remember the travel time as opposed
I'd have to Google it. I can't remember, but keeping in mind that the whole country is only 200, at the farthest point, 200 kilometers. I can't remember, 200 kilometers from ocean to ocean. And so we're almost halfway there. So we're going to say it's like 100 kilometers at a rough guess. And, you know, but also keeping in mind that the roads aren't as, you know, it's not highway driving time like it might be here in North America with our 4-lane, you know, 120 kilometer an hour highways. It's not like, it's a little slower going. So it's probably going to take a few hours to get from one to the other. And we usually stop along the way and see things and look at things. I know definitely the one trip we did, on the way out to Tortuguero, we saw a sloth, like right in a little tree on the side. So we stopped there for a while taking pictures and visiting the sloth because that was cool. So it's a leisurely pace. It's not a very hectic drive, but it's only probably about 100 kilometers.
Okay, somebody was asking, thank you for that, who's hosting? But my other question, is there actually a tour guide on the
Yes, so there is a English-speaking tour guide that is with us from start to finish on this tour. And so they're there just to kind of, they know everything about the destination. So they know, you know, how long it's going to be till the next stop, and they talk about different things in destination. They're the experts of the tour and the destination. We'll also have a tour host from the Women's Travel Club that will go. I believe it's Kirsten.
Yeah, I think so.
But that's a guess. And so Kirsten's there just to make sure everybody is having a great time, and she's kind of like the concierge of the tour to make sure everybody's happy and having a really good time. I have hosted this particular tour before. It's a great tour. We do go from San Jose out to Tortuguero, then to like Cloud Forest, we go to Arenal, then we go to Man Antonio. So we're like really doing like the whole route and seeing everything from one coast to the other and all like the main sites kind of idea. It is a great tour.
Thank you. So, yeah, somebody else asking about the footwear, but also mentioning, is it possible you'd need a hiking boot or something like that?
You don't particularly need a hiking boot. I think I wore flip-flops for most of the tour.
Oh, wow.
So, but I'm a big flip-flop wearer, so that might not be for everybody. But it's like we would probably suggest, like, you know, it's hot in Costa Rica. Most of the time of the year is a warm destination. So, you know, you can have some sandals or, you know, flip-flops, wherever you like, but then also bring a pair of closed-toed shoes of some sort, which may be just, you know, runners, might be hiking boots if you're really comfortable in them, but it's hot, so you might not want to, it's not rugged enough that you're kind of wearing, needing to wear hiking boots a lot of times on a lot of the walks. Like even some of the hikes into different areas like the Celeste waterfalls, when we hiked into there, it was raining too, and I think I had flip-flops on, but
Yeah.
other people had like running shoes on and such, because it's fairly well paved walks into those areas, and
including the iCloud. I'm thinking of app. Sorry, I'm
oh, the Cloud Forest, yeah, like including that. So a lot of like that area, like especially if you're on the bridges, you saw the bridges are kind of solid, so you don't really need hiking boots, and the paths are fairly well worn. So there are some paths that are just paved paths, and then other ones that are kind of crushed stone, and then you might have some that are kind of just dirt but well worn paths. So it's kind of what you're comfortable in, but I think the majority of people would be very comfortable in a closed toe kind of sneaker. In Tortuguero, we do a kind of jungle walk idea, and it's really wet there, but they have boots, so they gave us all boots to wear, rubber boots like gummies, and so they just, you know, have a whole selection of sizes, and you just find a pair that fit you, and you need those there because you don't even want to wear your own. It's so muddy, like you're like kind of that muddy, you get your boots stuck in the mud and have to like pull it out, so you don't want to be wearing your own hiking boots. You want to leave the muddy.
I know for those that want it a little bit more of an adrenaline rush, we do have that add-on, don't we?
Yeah, so there is like zip lining and such, and the zip lining is amazing, even unless you're really afraid of heights, and I'm not, like, I am not a heights person. I don't like tall bridges and stuff, but the zip lining was so amazing. I loved it, and it wasn't as scary as being really, I don't know, for some reason, because you're in the trees and you're just kind of skimming along the tops of the trees, you don't feel that you're as high as you are. But it's such a cool experience. So, you know, if in any way you're able to do it, I would suggest the zip lining. It's so much fun.
And so the details of that are on the pricing and details page, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to add that on.
Yeah, and for sure we can answer any questions about those and we may have. Barbara is just asking you to talk, so I'm just going to, she's got her hand up, so I'm just going to open her microphone. Hi, Barbara, you can unmute yourself. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Awesome. So I typed in a question. I didn't know if I was going to be speaking or if you'd read the question, but here it is. I was just wondering, is there a better time of year to go to Costa Rica than another? Is there a time to avoid, like a rainy season?
Yes, so the rainy season is kind of our summer, the really rainy season. And they're, you know, throughout their winter, starting in kind of November-ish, December, it starts into the dry season. So I've been there in various times of year, and I find November, like when our tour is, it's a nice time because you're kind of catching the end of the green season, so things are green and lush, but you're out of the rainy season. I've been there in March. Now I was in like more the Guanacaste province, so like kind of up a little bit north and west. And I was in March. It is so dry, like it looks like everything is dead. It's just it's like our winter with like, because it's so dry and so hot, and it's like sticks of trees, and it was so hot. Like during the day you couldn't do anything because it was so hot. So but and then you get into like kind of our heart of our summer, so July, August, June, it can be rainy every day, which can be, you know, unfun at times. So I really do like kind of the October, November, December area, like because you're kind of getting in from when it's a shoulder season from the green wetter time into the drier season, and I find it just a nice time to go because things are a little lusher, not quite as hot, and you can see a lot, and because Costa Rica is very much an area of microclimates because of the mountains and the two oceans. And the temperature can vary, but also the rainfall can vary around the country at any given time. So it's kind of picking a time if you're traveling around the country that you've got the best option or best ability to hit good weather as you travel too. So,
okay.
I don't know if that's helpful.
Yeah, no, that is helpful. So basically our winter is probably the best time to go.
Yes. Anytime really from kind of November to March, April is good.
What is September like? Because my son's getting married September 10th and they're planning on going to Costa Rica for their honeymoon.
Oh, well, it's a honeymoon. So if it's raining, it's okay.
There's your answer. That was a good one.
I was quite serious actually about the weather in September.
Yeah, it's, you know, I don't know where exactly they're going.
Well, they want to spend 2 weeks, 1 week jungle and rainforest, 1 week beach.
Only beach. Okay, so the beach is probably going to be in the Guanacaste area because that's where most of the resorts are. And jungle could be pretty much anywhere else. So like it's gonna depend. Guanacaste, it could be a little bit rainy, but like a lot of times their rain is very much like what you get in Florida, where like, you know, for an hour it pours rain and then it's sunny again.
Yeah.
So it could be a lot of that kind of weather. But you never know, right? They might hit a great week where it doesn't rain at all. It's a little hit and miss, like anywhere. And typically, especially if you get up into like the cloud forest area, if they're going to do that kind of jungle foresty area, then it could be rainy every day, no matter when you're there. A little bit, just kind of misty rain all the time.
One thing I would love to do in Costa Rica is go on the beach at night and see the leatherbacks.
Yeah. So a lot, you're gonna probably, well, the turtles do come to all the different areas. So even in Guanacaste, when I was there were turtles there on the beach. Not like all of, you know, it's not like the place is dirty with turtles. It's not like you walk around all the time, there's turtles there, but there's evidence of turtles, and you know that there's turtles kind of coming and going, and you definitely see them out in the water. But definitely Tortuguero is known for the turtles, and all the turtle research happens over on that side. But pretty much anywhere you go, there's turtles around, and if you really want to see them, you can.
Yeah, no, I'd love to see them. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Barb. So you created a new word, unfun.
Unfun? I do that a lot. I make up words all the time.
That's great. Oh, okay. Another question. What's the time zone that Costa Rica is in?
I can't.
Because we're talking, somebody was asking about time difference. You know what? Let me see.
We
if I
need
can-
Debbie. Debbie's usually listening and like, oh wait, I've got my phone off, but here she is.
I'll just do time zone.
Oh, Sierra does not participate in daylight savings time. November to mid-March say they are Central Standard Time or Greenwich Mean Time -6.
Oh, okay. So
I know she's like this little wealth of knowledge on the other end of the phone. For those who don't know, Debbie is Debbie Grew. She runs our tour development department, so she looks after putting all the tours together and kind of knows a little bit about everything.
I'm just double checking.
Oh, and the distance from San Jose to Tortuguero was 3 hours.
Ah, good. Thank you. Yeah, actually, somebody had mentioned how they were interested in visiting Costa Rica early in 2022, but I think we covered enough with respect to the best times of year to travel.
Yeah, and it's not like, you know, January, February, March is not a bad time to visit either.
Yeah.
You just really, you know, kind of heart of our summer might not be the best, but any other time it's good. It's just certain areas could be hot, so be prepared for that.
Okay. Oh, okay. I think we've covered everything, have we? If somebody wants to put their hand up and chat, that would be great.
Last chance. You want
Yeah.
to come on, say hi? Anything? No? Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I hope you really enjoyed the, oh, somebody just chatted. I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope you learned a bit about Costa Rica. We would love to have people join us on our Costa Rica tour coming up at the end of this year, in the end of November. I think it's a great time. I think tourism should be open by then, and Costa Rica is a great destination to get to without going too far abroad. That should, and also be great for social distancing because of the whole makeup of the tour. So I think it's a great option if you're thinking about traveling this year and looking for somewhere to go. Thank you, Irene, for all your help. Thank you, Debbie, out there in cyberspace, for helping answer our questions, and for all that help. Next week, we do have a special guest for Travel Talk. We're having Jen from Avalon River Cruises join us, and we're going to talk about the Oberammergau River Cruise that we have coming up for 2022. That includes the Passion Play.
Yeah.
So those of you who don't know it, the Passion Play only happens once a decade. And we are going to go for that in 2022. Quite exciting, quite special. So if you want to learn about that, tune in next week at 3 o'clock and you can learn all about that.
You can, because actually, had there been no COVID, it would have happened in 2020.
Yeah, which I find kind of ironic, because if you know what the Passion Play is, it's a small town that made a promise to God that if he stopped the plague, they would put on this Passion Play every 10 years. And ironically, the year that it was set to go, we had a big plague that stopped it and pushed it off for 2 years. So
Yes.
I'm not sure how
The
pleased
reason
God
why-
is with everybody.
The reason why, so I can get to go on it. That's why.
That's
Okay. And
Okay.
lots of nice comments came in.
Oh, well,
great
thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
We love doing this. We love kind of connecting when we can't travel. So glad everybody joined in, and we look forward to going over another tour next week, another destination, and kind of chatting with everybody and touching base. So everybody have a great week, and we will see you next week.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.